Welcome to Sick Flicks, where we take a deep dive into the cinematic sewer to examine the goriest and most disturbing movies of all time. I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, and today we're looking at Joe D'Amato's Emanuelle in The Last Cannibals, aka Trap Them and Kill Them. Released in 1977, Emanuelle in The Last Cannibals comes relatively early in the Italian cannibal film cycle, but near the end of D'Amato's Black Emanuelle series. In typical Italian fashion, D'Amato's mini-franchise basically ripped off the Sylvia Kristel Emanuelle films, replacing Kristel with Indonesian actress Laura Gemser and adding random exploitation elements, along with some hardcore inserts, to the softcore sexcapades. In this outing, Gemser improbably finds herself in the Amazon forest, surrounded by a tribe of natives who still practice cannibalism. How much long pig will these Stone Age savages consume by the time the credits roll? We'll find out later when we score it on the Gore Card, but for now, let's break down the plot. The film opens in New York City? Ah yes, nothing says cannibal movie like shots of the Big Apple and disco music. Well, we paid for all this New York City B-roll, so goddammit, we're gonna use it. After our jaunt through the credits, we get this title card, which says this is a true story based on the work of journalist Jennifer O'Sullivan. Honestly, this is probably just another Joe D'Amato pseudonym. The movie gets underway in a mental institution, where Laura Gemser, aka Emanuelle, is taking photos with her creepy baby doll. Ah yes, the pharmacy, where they keep all the horse tranquilizers. Maybe this movie had the same set designer as Fulci's The Beyond. Looks like this nurse has been breastfeeding George Eastman's character in Anthropophagus. I'm no lawyer, but I'm gonna say her breast reduction surgery went poorly and she might have a malpractice case. Clearly this cannibal girl likes the white meat. She went right for the breast.
She was found on the edge of the Mato Grosso. She's a real savage.
Is that your official diagnosis, doctor? Alright, show's over, crazy people. Everyone back to the pharmacy. Horse strengths are on the house. With order restored, Dr. Plot delivers his exposition diagnosis.
If it's found out that you are a journalist, can you imagine the scandal would break out? Don't you understand that?
Emanuelle is an undercover reporter. Ah, there's also a physical therapy room at this hospital. What doesn't this place have? I mean, besides someone on the staff who can friggin' spell. Now, with all that pesky story out of the way, we can finally get down to the sex. Emanuelle sneaks off because all these psychos are just free to wander around apparently. And then she notices this cannibal girl seems pretty agitated. Emanuelle's diagnosis is that she needs some help touching up her lip gloss and she's tied to a bed in a straitjacket. What a humanitarian. Look, this is the perviest interview / half-assed gynecological exam ever.
What is your name?
I'm not sure this adheres to proper journalistic ethics or the tenets of the Hippocratic Oath. Then she snaps a photo of the half-naked woman. Wait, I thought she was a journalist, not a pornographer. I know journalism jobs aren't paying much these days, but come on. The next day, Emanuelle is back at the office. She drops this bombshell of a line.
However, it seems she asked for it. She's well known for her homosexual inclination. She's the one who started abusing the poor girl.
So, hold on. The lesbian nurse was terrible, but it was totally okay that Emanuelle went in there and helped her solve the cat's cradle without asking. I'm not sure I'm following this logic. While examining her pervy photos, Emanuelle spots a strange tattoo on the cannibal woman that totally wasn't visible in the previous scene. Hooray for continuity. After some more exposition, we learn this mark belongs to a group of cannibals thought long extinct.
It's a symbol of the Tupinambas. They're an antique tribe of cannibals now completely extinct.
Armed with his hot new lead, Roger Ailes here is already figuring out how to sensationalize this story to terrorize Middle America. Tonight on Hannity, the cannibal caravan marches for the southern border. Will your kids be hors d'oeuvres? Next, Emanuelle is off to meet an anthropologist. And by meet, I mean bone. But before the boning can commence, they go to lunch, where the professor offers to bring her to his house so he can show her his collection of boners. Bones. Bones. Sorry.
If you come to my house, I'll be able to show you a complete and full documentation on cannibalism.
I'll come.
I also have some very interesting films on it.
Like, I've got an uncut copy of Jungle Holocaust and Deep River Savages. You'll love them. We get more random walking around New York City to pad the runtime. I wonder if any of these people realized they wound up in a softcore Joe D'Amato Black Emanuelle cannibal flick. I'm guessing they didn't sign releases. After lunch, Emanuelle shames Professor Lester into leading an expedition to the Amazon.
Or maybe you're past the age for this sort of thing. Well then?
Then it's time for home movies of his last vacation. We get a decapitation, but even worse is the grainy castration footage. And yeah, I can't show you that. Oh yeah, I like to bring all my lady friends over and show them this sort of stuff. Really helps set the mood. The eyes are the best part. They're just like grapes. After their snuff film marathon, it's sexy time. And already the doctor is getting possessive.
Why don't we get together later? Because now I've got to go and take care of something.
A man?
Emanuelle lays down the law because she's a liberated 70s woman.
You can't possibly think that I've been waiting for you all my life. I'm a free woman and I behave as such.
The next day, they're off to South America, where life is cheap. Wait, wrong movie. And just so you don't assume Dr. Lester here is just along to look pretty, he gives us a breakdown of cannibalism.
Is a land that lives according to its own rules. At times, the tribal rituals or the needs of its inhabitants make them eat human flesh.
While getting the details on the cannibal girl, we meet Isabel and the nun, who will be joining us on our jungle adventure. Man, we've got all the D'Amato bases covered. Black Emanuelle, cannibals, and a nun for a potential nunsploitation flick. All it's missing is Luigi Montefiore, and this would basically be peak Joe D'Amato. With everything in place, we should probably get this expedition underway. But first, we've got to screw to this ridiculous Nico Fidenko song. Now that everyone's lust has been satiated for the moment, they're ready to head out. Are they going on an expedition or to stage a coup and set up their own banana republic? Look, Emanuelle, I know you're probably used to things going off in your face, but you probably don't want that with a shotgun. Then they're off. So long, enjoy being cannibal food. After a tough day of boating, Emanuelle and Isabel decide they need to wash each other off. This chimpanzee enjoys the show. Man, I need a smoke. Back on the boat, we've got a weird love triangle thing going on, and some really terrible stock footage of alligators. Don't look now, but Emanuelle is about to be attacked by a giant snake. No, not a trouser snake. She's plenty used to that. A real snake. Lester grabs a rifle to try and save her, but I don't think that's gonna work. Maybe just play some of Nico Fidenko's Love on a Wing on the soundtrack. That'll probably relax the snake and get him in the mood. She's eventually saved by Donald O'Brien. That's right, motherfuckers. Dr. Butcher MD saves the day. Emanuelle sounds super traumatized by her experience.
Thank you very much.
Did that snake slip her a roofie before he attacked her or what? Way to muster up some enthusiasm. With everyone safe, we take a walk through Exposition Woods. Turns out the mission they're supposed to be delivering supplies to is no more.
I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but there's no more mission. They were attacked by some savages.
Back at camp, we meet Donald's wife, Maggie. So now we have even more potential cannibal food. Ever the journalist, Emanuelle wants to know what Donald and his wife are doing down here in the jungle. Oh, you know, just moving to this place over in Guyana we heard about, called Jonestown. Supposed to be a real Shangri-La. All the Kool-Aid you can drink. From here, we jump to slasher film perspective. Apparently, Camp Crystal Lake is actually in the Amazon. Who knew? These campers are really unaware of their surroundings. Whoever this is hiding in plain sight like 4 feet away. Then, because we haven't had a sex scene in like 4 minutes, we get to watch Donald's wife masturbate while she watches their black jungle guide shine his rifle. Pretty on the nose there, even for you, Joe D'Amato. Lester is convinced they should abort the expedition, but Donald here isn't down for that. This dude's really gung-ho on the idea of reenacting the most dangerous game.
And then I always have my gun with me. I came here to hunt, and if my game happens to be a human being, I don't mind.
When the missus comes back from the set of her cuckold video, her and Donald have it out.
I asked you where you've been.
To get a breath of fresh air.
Is that how you call it now? You're just a tramp.
And you're an impotent.
I'm no marriage counselor, but it seems like these two really have something special. Then, one of the non-English speaking future cannibal victims comes running into camp. Everyone follows him into the jungle. Could we finally get some cannibal action? Oh yeah, this dude's been eviscerated. But it looks like these cannibals had bigger eyes than stomachs. They left a lot behind. I mean, don't waste food, guys. Take a doggy bag or something. Not only have the cannibals killed this dude, but they've stolen the boats and provisions under the blue filter of mid-afternoon pretending to be night. Everyone decides it's time to return to civilization, but they're gonna have to walk out of here. Everyone except Donald and his wife. They have some ulterior motive.
Later we'll find a way to separate from them, and then we'll continue the search.
On their way back, they find some detritus along the bank, like a Bible, and this jump scare. So much for Father Morales. I hope he at least said grace before they ate him. Then there's more traipsing through the jungle, which is really Italy. Oh man, look, another snake. That's the brother of the snake who got shot earlier. He's back for revenge. After more walking, Isabel falls into quicksand, and I think that pretty much completes our Italian cannibal movie bingo card. We've had gut munching, wild animal B-roll footage from another documentary, lots of sweaty, grimy Italians, and quicksand. All we're missing is a booby trap. And no, the earlier sex scenes don't count. With Isabel saved, Jungle Jason Voorhees is back to stalking everyone from the bushes literally 2 feet away. Later, Donald and Salvador share a moment. Hey, Salvador, you haven't been boning my wife, have you? Because, you know, I got no problem hunting men. These two are on guard duty because, yes, we must stand guard while everyone sleeps in the middle of the afternoon. I mean night. Clearly this is supposed to be night. Donald isn't a very good guard because he gets busted playing around at grab-ass with Isabel. Dr. Lester isn't just some dry academic. He's cut more from the Indiana Jones mold of intellectual, and as such, lays the smackdown on Donald. Okay, so he actually gets his ass kicked. But hey, points for trying. Did you see that, Emanuelle? I had him right where I wanted him. He'd worn himself out pummeling me and was getting tired. I was just about to make my move. After that, Salvador and the nun head off into the jungle. If you were hoping this was going to turn into an unsploitation film, I'm sorry to disappoint. She just vanishes, apparently abducted by the cannibals. They all then set out to find her, which is hilarious because I don't think these guys could find water at the beach. But they do find a booby trap, and now our cannibal film bingo card is complete.
Be careful. There may be others.
Way to listen, Ronaldo.
It's far too dangerous to go on in the dark.
I agree, which is why you should keep marching while it's still the middle of the afternoon here. If you're wondering what happened to the nun, she's over here at the cannibal dance party. They slice her nipple off, and no, there's no way I can show you that, but rest assured it's not a particularly great looking effect anyway. Honestly, for an Italian splatter flick, most of the effects work in this movie is pretty disappointing. Emanuelle and the team find a piece of Sister Angela's habit. Just wait guys, you're gonna find a lot more interesting pieces of her soon. Donald, ever the optimist, feels like there's no point in searching for the nun.
It's useless going on. By now, Sister Angela will have been well digested by those cannibals.
Listen, you!
No.
Don't make me kick your ass again, Professor. After more seemingly never-ending walking through the woods, they finally find something. Yeah, told you were going to find more interesting pieces of the good sister soon. Donald suggests camping for the night, and I love that D'Amato isn't even pretending to bother with blue filter night anymore. It's just broad daylight out here. Maybe they just forgot to add it in post. With everyone asleep, Donald and his wife slink out of camp under the cover of mid-afternoon. Our duo finally find what they're looking for. A crashed plane full of diamonds. Way to toss in a late-in-the-game plot thread, I guess. Look! Cubic zirconia from the mines! We're rich! We can finally corner the home shopping network jewelry market. We'll live like kings. Naturally, you just found your diamonds, and you're in the jungle surrounded by cannibals, so the smart thing to do here is to stop and have sex. Who's impotent now, Maggie? And with that, the cannibals finally come out of the woods and grab them. I used to be an adventurer, but then I took an arrow in the knee. Wait, I mean spear in the shoulder. The cannibals leave Donald behind, and really, who can blame him? He looks stringy and tough, like one of those steaks you'd get at Dollar General. Finding the plane does give our intrepid jungle explorers a life raft, a radio, and a flare gun, though. They're going to use this to save Maggie, somehow.
We better wait till daybreak to cross the river.
Dude, it's mid-afternoon. Like, if you look on the shore over there, you can see the crew eating an early lunch.
Once we reach the island, we split up.
This sounds like the worst plan ever. The SS Moron makes landfall, and they storm the beach of some Italian lake pretending to be in South America. Everyone splits up, and Mark and Emanuelle find their boat. Hey, we just found our boat. What do you say? Let's just leave these idiots for the cannibals and get the hell out of here. Meanwhile, in the cannibal camp, they're hard at work on their new production of I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Spoiler, it's because she doesn't want to be lunch. Donald and his team run right into the cannibals. Naturally, things don't go well for them. Way to go, Donald. They're all dragged back into camp while Emanuelle and Mark watch. Way to be heroes, guys. Mark is probably pissed he forgot his camera. This would have made a nice addition to his home movie cannibal snuff film collection. Maggie gets stabbed in the lady parts, and nope, there's no way I can show that until I start a Patreon and have uncut vids for subscribers. Then we come to Emanuelle in The Last Cannibals' most infamous scene. Generally speaking, the most infamous scene in a video is one that's super gory or well executed. A calling card of sorts. In this case, we all remember Donald's death for how shoddy it is. Look at that. They basically just put a photo of the background in front of his lower half to try and convince us he'd been ripped in two. For shame, Joe D'Amato. For shame, sir. Unfortunately, Isabel's still alive. Her fate is to get raped by the tribe and killed later. It's at this point that Emanuelle comes up with the stupidest idea in history. She strips naked and paints that tattoo from the start of the movie onto her stomach and pretends to be the goddess of the water. Her plan is to fool the natives. Great plan. And yet, somehow it works. These rube cannibals watch them just walk away, but then Mark saves them in the boat. Wait, the goddess of the water doesn't need a boat. She just pulled a dine and dash. While making their escape, Emanuelle has to ice some cannibals with the shotgun while Mark tries to get the boat to work. Then they flee. Not so fast. There's time for one more jump scare. Emanuelle tells this cannibal to butt out. After that, she justifies murder as just another thing she's willing to do for a story. What a journalist.
I didn't think I was capable of shooting at a man. Then they say that a journalist will do almost anything for an article.
Then she eulogizes everyone who didn't make it.
And Maggie and Donald, with their shabbiness.
Donald and Maggie with their shabbiness? What the hell? They weren't the nicest people, but they didn't deserve to get stabbed in the privates and ripped in half. I'm starting to think Emanuelle might be a sociopath. Thank God Dr. Lester is here to put it all in perspective. Just like a final thought on an episode of Jerry Springer.
Don't take it badly, Manuel. It's nobody's fault.
Then cue the Nico Fedenko and roll those credits. And that, my fellow gore geeks, is Emanuelle and The Last Cannibals. Of the D'Amato Black Emanuelle films, this is my second favorite, edged out only by the batshit insane and sleazy Emanuelle in America. This is not a good film by any stretch of the imagination, but it's so ridiculous that I can't help but love it anyway. The implausible situations, the strange dialogue, the cheap-looking effects. That's why Emanuelle and The Last Cannibals is essentially a trash cinema classic. But how does it score on the Gore Card? Let's find out. In terms of gross anatomy, we've got several decapitations, some cannibal leftovers, a gruesome castration, and that hilariously awful sequence of Dr. Butcher MD getting ripped in half. Fabrizio Sforza's special effects are serviceable, if ultimately a little underwhelming. The usual assortment of pig guts and fake blood are on display, but none of it looks particularly convincing if you're a discerning gorehound. Guts are certainly munched, but this is a middle-of-the-road affair, which is why Emanuelle in The Last Cannibals earns 3 barf bags out of 5. There are more disturbing cannibal films out there, and we're gonna cover them eventually. Have you seen Emanuelle in The Last Cannibals? If so, leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of it. And while you're down there, why not like this video and subscribe to the channel? I'm scheduling an Amazon River cruise for subscribers, and you wouldn't want to miss that, would you? Of course you wouldn't. Oh, and check out some of my other videos. You'll find links to other sick flicks here on the screen. I'll see you over there. Don't leave me hanging. Until next time, I'm Mike Bracken, aka The Horror Geek, bringing you all the splatter that matters.